What happens when you choose your own path, even if it means disappointing the ones closest to you? If you've been following along, you'll know that February's read was Hexed by Emily McIntyre. Spoiler alert, this is not your typical review. This is a reflection. And because in our Dark Romance Book Club, we talk about how the books made us feel emotionally and what we discovered about ourselves along the way. So with that in mind, I will be speaking from my own emotional truth. If you're new here, my name is Laura Ashley, and I'm a dark romance writer and reader. And I am also the founder of the Kintsugi Heart Dark Romance Book Club. At the moment, I'm working on my debut dark, emotional mafia romance novel, and I also write and produce music and character audios to go with the book. Okay, so when I first went into the book, I had no idea what to expect. I went in completely blind. I had never read an Emily McIntyre book before. I was really intrigued by the premise of a Little Mermaid fractured retelling, but like make it dark and mafia. And also I read the trigger warnings, felt super happy to carry on. So how did I feel whilst reading this book? I'm going to be completely honest, okay? I DNF'd this book, and it wasn't because I was triggered. In our book club, there is no shame around DNF'ing. Quite simply, if we are not feeling it, we DNF. No judgment. So emotionally, I felt a lot of empathy for Venesa. I saw someone who was, an absolute badass, but was constantly seeking approval from her uncle. And even though her uncle raised her after her mother died, she was constantly seen as an outcast. But I suspect one of the main reasons that she stayed was so she could still be close to her mother. That was through this painting that should have been handed down to her, but her uncle took it. I thought, wow, she is so strong, and I really want to see her break free from the shackles that her family has her in. And I think it's more of a power move, like more than anything, because then she's like forced to look at this painting every day, knowing it should have rightfully been hers. And then because she connects to her mother through that painting, her uncle is able to control her. And then that leaves her constantly seeking approval within a family that doesn't see or value her. So I absolutely loved Venesa, but I really struggled to connect with Enzo emotionally. Did I feel emotionally safe with the MMC? In short, yes. But if I'm being completely honest, I wasn't like emotionally drawn to him the way I am with other MMCs. And like when I first met Enzo, I didn't feel that initial like pull towards him. And I really didn't like how he treated Arya in the beginning of the book. In some ways you could say Arya deserved that treatment because she has like been bullying her cousin Venesa throughout the whole life when they're growing up. But at one point, the language that he used to shut her up, I did feel it was a little misogynistic, and he would frequently say things like he was going to impregnate her to carry on the line. I don't know why I'm laughing. Okay, it wasn't even that funny. Why am I laughing? Yeah, this is why I don't like him, because I just can't take him seriously. But at one point, I did feel like the language he used was a little misogynistic, and like to shut her up. It's just the things he would say, and he would also like frequently say things like how he was going to impregnate her to carry on the line. Yeah, so I was like, I tried to do this again, and I had like a laughing fit. But yeah, I cannot take him seriously. So we know that in mafia romances, those themes of misogyny, family loyalty, societal and familial expectations are very prevalent. But it seemed to me Enzo only following his father's wishes, as a promise to his deceased mother, in a way it kept him just as trapped as Venesa. And, it just, and it's that cycle of not feeling good enough, then, compensating for that. And then, then it sacrifices on their own happiness. Okay, this is going to sound brutally honest, but if I am going to feel emotionally safe with an MMC in a dark romance, I need that man to have a backbone. I felt it despite it being clear that Enzo had absolutely no interest in Aria. He was willing to go along with that family expectation, sacrifice his own happiness, just to secure his own position within the family. Plus, as he believes Aria saved him from a near-death experience at the beginning of the book, I felt like he owed it to her to marry her. However, I will say I loved seeing that flicker of protectiveness when he saw where Venesa lived, and then he was worrying if it was safe enough. Love that. No notes. I was smiling so much when we're introduced to Fisher, Vanessa's best friend, and then Enzo is super jealous, and then that whole time he's really struggling to maintain his composure. From the portion I read, the book was really well written. I really liked Emily's writing style, but yeah, I DNF'd at page 138 just because I didn't emotionally connect with Enzo. And I think this book is really perfect for, those who like a slower pace and a gentle ease into the genre. So what stuck with me? Honestly, I would say Vanessa's love for Fisher, that platonic love. I saw how much she so fiercely loves him and does her best to keep him safe, and him and his heart safe from Aria and the rest of her family. I also thought Venesa was such a complex character in many ways, but what was interesting to me is that when she's hooking up with people, she is always guarding her heart and from everyone. And it was a little sad to see one of her hookups, Venesa, one of her hookups, Athena, reaching for that emotional closeness, and then Venesa shutting it down. And it made me think in the whole portion that I read, she is very good at deflecting, especially when Fisher says something that hits a little bit too close to home. She definitely is someone that keeps everyone at arm's length, and when Fisher does share his concerns for her, she then flips it back onto him, and then it becomes about him and her concerns for him. Do you remember reading a little snippet where she and Enzo are walking along the seafront in their town? It holds a lot of memories for her, and then she kind of cracks the door open just a teensy bit to her heart. So what have I learned about myself through reading this book? So I've learned that there is no point keeping a promise. Simply go along with the status quo if it means sacrificing your own happiness. It really resonates with me because as a woman, society is constantly telling us what our role is, and we often receive a lot of pressure to, settle down or climb the corporate ladder. But I think it takes a lot of courage to be like, actually, I don't want to do that. I choose to do this instead. And equally, if we're thinking from Enzo's POV, it really, that keeping that promise really made him resentful and jaded. And it's a disservice to himself to stay in a relationship where he's clearly not happy just because of expectations and doing what he thinks is the right thing. But yeah, what do you guys think? Is it worth continuing to read? And finally, our March read is Rena Kent's God of Malice. I was so excited to start reading this one and to finally dip my toe into the Renaverse. And oh my god, I am only on chapter 7. I love it. I love Killian. And I have got a lot of thoughts about him. And honestly, I will probably need more than one video to talk about Killian. I love him so much. I don't know what that says about me. But yeah, I've got a lot of thoughts about him. So I will be sharing those soon. And yes, I will be going into heavy detail. And if you would like to join us online at the Black Rose Cafe for our March read, you will find all the details below. I'll leave it in the comments. Hope to see you there. Bye.